The workspace is a new, more cataloger-friendly way to catalog. In the past, unless you were importing records, cataloging has been a cradle-to-grave, start-to-finish, all-in-one sitting affair. You have your title, you search for the bibliographic record for that title, you find the record you want to use, then you need to edit the record, add your local holdings, and finally you save the record into your local database. But you never had the ability to pause this workflow. With LS2 cataloging, if you have a cart of books or boxes of books from the vendor, or even just a stack of books on the corner of your desk, instead of having to catalog each book one by one, instead you'll be able to open your workspace and scan in the standard number for each title you're working on in order to add it to your workspace. Then you can come back around to work on the individual records in your own time. Put simply, a workspace is a virtual representation of material you are working on at that moment in time. And if you happen to be working on different projects, maybe cataloging different materials, different donations, you can easily create workspaces as you go instead of confining yourself to a single solitary workspace. You even have the ability to jump into a colleague's workspace to help them with a record if they're stuck or have questions, all without leaving your desk. In terms of workflow, instead of having to search for each title's marked record, what you'll do instead is scan in the standard number for each piece of material. The system will then automatically go out and look to make a match. First, it will look within your local database. Do you already own that piece of material? If it doesn't find a match at the local database, if it's truly something brand new to your system, the system will then search ITSMark, a subscription-based aggregation of Library of Congress MARC records stored here at TLC in the cloud. Now, as you can see, I've added a few pieces of material into my workspace. If a unique match is made at the local level or through ITSMark, the system will automatically display that match in your workspace, and you can then begin working on that record. For example, if I look over here, we have some chain icons. For Guide to the Soviet Navy, we can see by hovering our mouse over this chain that the source of this record was ITSMark. If I go down to the Sword and the Shield, however, hovering my mouse indicates that this was already present in my local database. So the system simply pulled the bibliographic record in from the local database. Now, keep in mind that when you are adding material to your workspace, only a standard number search will return an auto match. You can still search by other means, but again, auto matches will only be received when using standard numbers. Now, once you have material in your workspace, you have a few options in terms of how to proceed. If you want to see if MarkStore has returned the record you want to use, you can always run your search again. So for the record that ITSMark brought back, Guide to the Soviet Navy, what we can do is come over here to Actions and come over to this ellipsis button for more actions. We can select to match again, and we'll see the parameters that were brought in by that ITSMark search. Now, we can see we're on local at present, so if we want to come over to ITSMark, we can see the solitary match that ITSMark was able to make that then allowed that record to immediately be placed in our workspace. Keep in mind that if ITSMark finds multiple matches, you will need to specify which record to use, and we'll see that in a moment. Now, again, since this was the only match that was made in ITSMark, this is the record that was brought into the workspace.